So like what growing up, you were getting in trouble in kindergarten. You then didn't go to pre-med. You decided to go take this business route, and now you're starting your own company. Like, what did your parents think about all this? Or like your grandparents, or like the people around you? Were they just like, this woman's crazy, or were they supportive?
I mean, yeah, my parents were very nervous. So
Wow. Wow.
yes.
Shout out, Mom. I won't say what I'm
did not
thinking.
believe.
Don't worry. I know they're super supportive. I mean, my parents are probably my biggest fans behind my husband and my kids. Even we taught the kids to tell each of us, go crush it today. Yeah. So then it kind of pumps you up because it starts your day on a good note.
Love it. And how old are your kids?
So I have she's just turned 7 last week, a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Love it.
So
whoa, they're
little
already
kids,
crushing things. Look at that.
little kids. Yeah. So, but I mean, honestly, with my parents, going back to that, I told them probably, I guess it was before I left a big corporate company, and I went out and took a risk and ran a company under the CEO on the commercial side. And I was trying to convince my dad to partner together. Let me come help you. I will take your business to the next level. And I mean, both of my parents looked like deer in headlights. Yeah. Like, how is that possible for you to do this? You know, because also your parents or people that you're friends with, they don't see you in your job and how you handle yourself and what you're really doing. And
they still see you as like 7 years old almost,
exactly,
right? Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Go crush it.
Yeah, that's right. Go crush it. Have a great day.
Nice.
So yeah, but now I think they're just kind of in shock and amazed, but it's been so awesome because now my dad and I can help each other on deals, and it's just been wonderful. And the freedom of owning your own business, oh my goodness. If you're thinking about it and you have the skill set, do it. Do it, do it, do it. If you're driven and you are doing all right now, take the risk and do it. That's what I would say. So what do you think, Mark?
Nice.
I mean, you've done this, right?
Yeah. So I like elements of your story sound very similar to mine. But what I love about it is there are a lot of subtle nuances in your story. For instance, you take a traditionally safe career, doctor, and you pivot out of that and go into a career that's not only risky, but especially when you got into oil and gas. I don't know that oil and gas had the best reputation in terms of like, supporting and encouraging women in particular. And so you're going headlong into
an old industry dominated by
and so
absolutely.
I'm like that side of me, because I came from oil and gas, a different part than you did, but I came from it. I always witnessed a very supportive environment for women in oil and gas, and we have this terrible reputation. So, it makes those, your success story there is encouraging, and you did your time. You worked like you were supposed to, and you got your skills and your experience, and then you stepped out and did something. Good for you. Well done.
Thank you.
What I like about it is the risk changing over time. Yeah. So like you said, she goes from pre-med, which is traditionally safe, to oil and gas, which is riskier, but she then amplified her risk even more by starting her own company. Yeah. However, during this whole time, it looks as though her risk has gone up significantly, but the whole time I feel like it's all calculated risk. It's not, your risk is not really going up because you thought about this beforehand. Right. You first went into this sales supports role knowing that this is what you want. And then after that, you'd already built this large social network to where now when you do start your own consulting company, you've already built the relations. You're good. So the risk is not, it's there on paper, but it's not really there.
Right. That's true. And as I was working for a really big corporation, very safe at the time.
Yeah, at the time.
Safe job. And I had, lots of experience. I was performing well, and this opportunity to go to this independent oil company on the downstream side, they came to me and kind of headhunted me away. So for me, that was probably one of the riskier moves that I made, was leaving big corporate oil to go to an independent. But it was giving me so much more in a sense of advancement for leadership, stepping out as a major leader, putting together global distribution agreements. And, you know, I mean, not to mention salary, right? Yeah. So, I mean, it was almost, you know, it was significant increase. So at some of these larger oil companies, it's a lockstep program. So once you're in, you're at a pay scale grade, and maybe it's 3 to 5 years, and you know, everybody's working longer, nobody's retiring these days. So it's very hard to move up in ranks, even if you're a top performer, even if you're a diverse candidate, which I would technically classify for. I think I should in more cases because I have red hair, but
right, that's true. Yes.
But that doesn't count, I don't think. So when I left, I actually I wasn't so sure about that. And so I talked to my boss and boss's boss, is there anything y'all can do? I just have this offer. I just cannot turn it down if we don't, you know, have a discussion here, because I loved where I was working. And so it went all the way up to like boss's 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 boss, to the president of the business unit. Yeah. And she actually reached out and gave me a call, and we talked for a little while. And one of the things that she said was, you know, just don't burn any bridges, and we'd be happy to have you back. Yeah. And that was kind of like, okay, risk reduced. Yeah. So then I was like, okay, if I make this jump, I'm really not going to make everybody mad, but this is just what's best for my family and for my career. And it was an opportunity for leadership automatically, instead of waiting for the next round of whatever was going to happen within the big corporate job. So